Okay, I have to talk about this. I just watched Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic, the one everyone's been waiting for. The one that broke box office records on its opening weekend. And I've thought, look, let me say this upfront, Jaafar Jackson is incredible. Genuinely, the man had never acted before in his life and he showed up. The dance numbers, cheers. The recreations of the iconic performance, beautiful. But the rest of this movie made me angry. Not because they got the music wrong, no. They didn't. The music is the only thing they fully respected. I'm angry because they took one of the most fascinating, complicated human people who ever lived and they turned him into a poster, a perfect smooth, harmless poster. And Michael Jackson deserved more than that. So did we? Let me explain. So let me start with the thing that got right because credit is credit, Jaafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, has never acted professionally before. And the pressure on this kid was unreal. You're playing your own uncle in front of his entire fan base, in front of your grandmother, with the world watching. And he did it. The physicality, pristine, the way he holds his shoulders, the way he glides across the stage, the moonwalk. There are moments where you genuinely forget you are not watching Michael. But here's where I have to be real. They didn't let Jaffa play Michael Jackson. They made him play a version of Michael Jackson that the family and the estate wanted the world to see. And those are two completely different people. Take his voice. Throughout the entire movie, Jaffa speaks in that soft, breathy, high-pitched voice we all know from the press conference. Like, huh? Yeah, Michael, I wanna do that. Huh? And the interviews, beautiful imitation, okay. But here's the thing. Michael Jackson didn't actually talk like that all the time. His close friends, the people who knew him in private, have said in interviews that off camera, in his real life, his speaking voice was deeper, more grounded, more adored. The high voice was, in part, public persona, a character he performed.
You know that voice, Michael Jackson's voice that you hear all the time, like, oh yeah. That wasn't talking like that. It was like low-key deep, like Game It's Michael. It wasn't like Game It's Michael. He wasn't talking like that. It was like regular, but like his voice.
Myself created the Thriller album. It was my dream that Thriller would become the biggest selling album ever.
One thing in life you must understand.
So when the movie has him talking like that to his own brothers, to his own father, in private bedrooms, it's not the real Michael. It is the Michael the public was sold. And that's the whole movie in a nutshell. Jaffa didn't get to play a person. He got to play an icon. That's not his fault. That's the script's fault. Now let's talk about the absences. Because the absences in this movie are loud. Diana Ross is not in this movie. Let me say that again. Diana Ross is not in this Michael Jackson biopic. For people who don't know, Diana Ross was the woman who introduced the Jackson 5 to the world. She's the one who brought them to Motown. She mentored Michael personally. He talked about her his entire life as one of the most important figures in his career. He literally said in interviews that she was like a second mother to him. Tell me, how do you make a movie about Michael Jackson's rise from his childhood in Gary, Indiana, to the Bat Tower and not include the woman who put him on the map? You can't, you shouldn't. And I will go further. If Diana Ross was approached for this movie and refused, and from what I've gathered, she did refuse because she didn't agree with the direction the movie was taking, then honestly, the movie should have been cancelled. I'm serious. If your subject's most important mental looks at your scripts and says, no, I won't be part of this, that should be a red flag the size of Texas. That should make you pause. Instead, They just cut it out, acted like she didn't exist. And that's not the only one. Janet Jackson, Michael's little sister, a global superstar in her own right, someone who shared a stage with him countless times, also declined. She watched a private screening, reportedly got into arguments with the rest of the family afterwards. She said no. Paris Jackson, Michael's own daughter, gave notes on a early script. They ignored her notes. She washed her hands off it. Now, she publicly called the movie sugar-coated and said it sells you a fantasy as if it's real.
A big reason why I haven't said anything up until this point is because I know a lot of you guys are going to be happy with it. Like, a big section. The film panders to a very specific section of my dad's fandom that still lives in the fantasy. And they're gonna be happy with it. The thing about these biopics is it's Hollywood, so it's fantasy land. It's not real, but it's sold to you as real, and a lot of sugar-coated, like the narrative is being controlled, and there's a lot of inaccuracy, and there's a lot of just full-blown lies. And at the end of the day, like, that doesn't really fly with me. I don't really like dishonesty. I spoke up. I wasn't heard. I f***ed off. That's it. Y'all are gonna like the movie, so just go watch it, go enjoy it, do whatever, leave me out of it.
When the people closest to Michael are this divided, when the man's own daughter is calling your movie a fantasy, maybe, just maybe, you didn't make the movie you should have made. I'm sorry for you, bro, but that movie is kinda a mess, like, yeah. Now, here's where I want to push back a little, because the movie also gets something wrong in the opposite direction. Joe Jackson, Michael's father, has been characterized for decades as basically a monster, a tyrant, a man who beat his children into being stars. And listen, the abuse was real. Michael talked about it openly. His siblings have talked about it. I'm not here to defend that. None of us are. But here's the part that doesn't get said enough, and the movie doesn't say it either. Without Joe Jackson, there's no Michael Jackson. That man came from nothing. He worked in steel mills. He saw something in his son that nobody else did. And he built from absolute zero the most successful family act in music history. He taught those boys to be relentless. He taught them about the business. He fought for them when nobody else would. There is this one thing I learned from the analysis I watched. When the Jackson 5 first signed with Motown, the cut was pitiful, like embarrassingly small, around 2%, somewhere around there. Joe Jackson is the one who fought, pushed, negotiated. He got that percentage up to something like 22%. He fought for his kids' money in a system that was designed to take it from them. And there's something deeper here too. Joe Jackson, much like Matthew Knowles with Beyoncé decades later, instilled in his children a kind of clan mentality. A keep the black community on your side, never forget where you came from mentality. He taught them to move through a white-dominated industry as a unit, to protect each other, to trust your own. That's not an excuse for the abuse. The abuse was wrong. But you can hold both things at the same time. Like, a man can be a tyrant and a builder, a monster and a strategist, a father who hurt his kids, and the only reason those kids got out of poverty. The movie doesn't engage with any of that complexity. It just gives you a cartoonish abuse version. And that's lazy, because the real story is so much more interesting. Okay, I have to talk about this, because this one matters to me. That iconic chant in Wanna Be Starting Something, Mama say, Mama say, Mama cosa, na 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 na, one of the most famous hooks in the history of pop music. That's not Michael's. That belongs to a Cameroonian musician named Manu Dibango. He recorded it in 1972, 11 years before Thriller, on a song called Soul Makossa. Manu Dibango was one of the founding architects of Afrobeat, a legend in African music. Michael Jackson took that chant, put it on Thriller, didn't ask, didn't credit, didn't pay. Manu Dibango only found out because a friend mentioned this collaboration he would never heard of. He sued Michael. He set out of court. They reportedly became friends afterwards. But it gets worse. When Rihanna's team came in 2007, wanting to sample that same chant, they asked Michael for permission. And Michael got a songwriting credit on Rihanna's Don't Stop the Music for something that wasn't his to begin with. Unfortunately, Manu Dibango passed away in 2020 from COVID. He was 87 years old. And in this 200 million biopic that wants to celebrate Michael Jackson's musical legacy, Manu Dibango's name isn't mentioned, not once, not in a flashback, not in a credit, not in a single line of dialogue. And honestly, this is a pattern in American storytelling that I'm tired of. Like, there's still this habit. I'm not the first to point this out. Like, taking from cultures, especially African cultures, and acting like the work appeared out of thin air, like Michael invented that chant in a Los Angeles studio. Same thing for Shakira, if I don't make mistake. With Waka Waka, Zamina, Amina, eh, eh.
I was taking a few days off in my farm in Uruguay, and I walked from the barn to the house, and on that walk, boom, it came to me. I got the lyrics and the music of the entire first verse and first pre-chorus. I arrived to the house. I was like, I got it, I know this is it.
Like, yeah, you invented that out of nothing. I just want to tell you that despite the fact that Michael Jackson is a legend, he didn't invent that. Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. No, he didn't. Honestly, he didn't. A man from Douala, Cameroon, did. And the irony is, a lot of people don't know the meaning of Makossa. And it is really sad that you don't make researches to know about things. And it is also super sad because that man deserved his name on the screen. Acknowledging Manu Dibango doesn't take away from Michael Jackson. It adds to him. Like, it says this artist was so curious, so connected to global music that he researched across the continents to pull in sounds nobody else was paying attention to. That's a bigger legacy, not a smaller one. But the people who made this film didn't see it that way, so they erased him. Another thing is, the movie pretends that the music industry was on Michael's side his whole life. That's a lie. And we all know it is a lie because we have watched it happen in real time to artist after artist. Britney Spears, Whitney Houston, Amy Winehouse, the list goes on. The industry takes you when you're young, squeezes every dollar out of you, and when you start to break, and you will break, they just cut you, or worse, they use your breakdown as content. Michael was no different. He was 13 years old when the world started consuming him. 13, like, think about that. Think about how strange your own 13 years old self was. Now imagine being that strange in front of millions of cameras every day for the rest of your life. The industry didn't protect him. It built him into a brand and then watched him crack. And when he cracked, the same industry that profited from him for decades didn't catch him. It sold tickets to the cracking. A real Michael Jackson biopic will say that out loud. This one doesn't go anywhere near it. Look, if you went and saw the movie and loved it, I'm not coming for you. The dance number slap, the recreations are gorgeous. Jaafar is a star. If you walk out of that theater feeling joy, hold on to that joy. It is real. I just think we deserve more. Michael Jackson deserved more. And the next time someone makes a film about a complicated person, I hope they remember smoothing someone out doesn't honor them, it erases them. Drop in the comments, did you see Michael? What did you think? Did it work for you or did you feel what I felt? And if you could remake it, what would you put back in? I read every comment. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching or listening. It was Christ-Yvan. So bye.